This episode is sponsored by Pattern. Shopping for disability insurance as a physician is a complicated and arduous task. It takes a lot of time and can definitely cause headaches. Pattern simplifies disability insurance for busy doctors. You get quotes, you can compare prices, and you can buy risk-free. Get started today by requesting your free quote at patternlife.com. That's patternlife.com. You can find the policy that's right for you, and your income is protected with Pattern. All Global Circle. Medical laboratories are always on the lookout for healthcare professionals who are willing to give their opinion on the latest medical breakthrough. All Global Circle offers healthcare professionals the opportunity to shape the medical industry by participating in surveys that are relevant to their specialty. On allglobalcircle.com, you can receive up to $50 of sign-up bonuses. On top of this, you'll get paid for participating in studies and giving your expert opinion. So sign up today, impact millions of lives, and check out allglobalcircle.com. All right, guys, for today's episode, we're going to be talking about the concept of contemplation. And before we get to that, I do want to make a short announcement. TheHappyDoc.com is going to have updated guest episodes with show notes and transcripts. So if you ever listen to a guest episode and you want to follow along a little bit more closely, just go to thehappydoc.com and click on the guest episode. You're going to see links, you're going to see a transcript, and it's going to let you get a little bit deeper into the episode. So please be sure to go on the website as you're listening to episodes to check that out. Also, there is an email list, so if you ever want to be updated on the latest episodes, please be sure to sign up on thehappydoc.com. I'm very excited about that, and I'd love for you guys to check that out. All right, so let's get into contemplation. And contemplation is a little bit different than reflection, and I'm going to try to define it in a moment. But in general, you want to start to think about using this practice when you're dealing with moments or areas in life where you might have a lot of information. There's a lot of data. You're going to use contemplation when there's maybe a tough subject, a difficult dilemma, a situation that kind of needs a deeper look. And contemplation is essentially a quiet space where it's not that you're journaling, it's not that necessarily you're in deep thought and you're writing things down, but it is a form of meditative practice that really gets you into the deep parts of your mind when you can really start to just calm down. It's not just a simple reflection, in which case when I think about reflecting, it's essentially just taking a moment to just take a look at the information and come up with a logical conclusion. I would say that contemplation is a bit deeper than that. Contemplation is to consciously choose to slow down, to stop, and really give yourself, an amount of time that will allow you to get into deep areas of a situation and consider things that you might not have even thought of. It's definitely a deep form of thinking. And the reason I even bring it up for this episode is I don't really think in today's fast-paced world, we're often contemplating certain major decisions in our lives, certain situations that are happening in the workplace, certain situations that are happening in politics, for example, or in the world. And when we get into deep, slow thinking, we're able to start to open our minds to different areas of thought we might not have considered. Contemplation is something that allows you to not just look at things from a very simple standpoint, but take a difficult situation and start to play around with different scenarios, different ways of thinking, understanding another person's argument, understanding your argument or the way you're thinking about something and how that might not be right, and really getting into some thoughts that we don't normally get into. in life, if we don't contemplate, if we don't get into these deep, slow ways of thinking, we might miss out on important patterns, important actions that if we thought about it in a different way, we could make things simpler, we could make things more efficient, we could make our surroundings a little bit easier. And so sometimes when we're making a lot of these quick decisions and we're in a stressful situation and we're constantly in a rush, we might not be able to get underneath the patterns that are ultimately recreating issues potentially in our lives. So contemplation allows us, I often say that in any challenge in our life, there's a couple ways to look at it. A lot of people are afraid of challenge, but challenge also is an access to a treasure, to a moment that you can learn something. And the only way to really get there is by slowing things down and really looking at a situation and analyzing it and looking at it and feeling it and looking at it through a different lens. So I don't think that it's always going to be the case where you're always going to need to contemplate everything. But I think when it comes to important life decisions, when it comes to a stressful situation that needs to be handled, when it comes to the way we operate, if you're seeing patterns in your life that are reoccurring, situations where you keep on making similar mistakes, situations where you consistently get aggravated, situations where you're having trouble with a specific person or what have you, if you're noticing issues in your workplace, if you're noticing struggles with a specific area of your life, it might make sense to really sit down and contemplate and to look at things and to uncover things inside of yourself. The reason why this can be useful is if we try to gain truth from an external source, if we try to listen to someone from a book, listen to someone's opinion, the problem that arises is you're listening to someone else's opinion who's not directly in your life. But you always know your truth. You know what skills you have. You know what knowledge. You have the knowledge of what you have. You have the evidence of the things that you've done in your past. And so when you contemplate, it's the truth that is even more true because you're unlocking it inside yourself. You're unlocking the pathway that only you can do. You know, you have a certain set of skills. You have a certain set of talents. You have a certain past inside of you. So the truth that's going to work for you and your situation is going to be unique to you. Not everyone is going to have your skill set. And so you have to uncover the truth. And often what happens is we try to externalize, we try to reach out for someone else to give us the keys, the answers, the things that we need. And sometimes it's true, we can get that from other people. But when we contemplate and when we sit down and when we slow down and we reflect, we are handing ourselves the keys. We're literally teaching ourselves the lessons. And that's going to be unique to each and every one of us. So that's a little bit about this episode today. I really just wanted to focus in on contemplation. It's an important skill to think about. If you ever get a chance or ever notice that something's arising, my recommendation is to use this as part of your toolkit to sit down and just sit with something. A lot of people don't feel comfortable doing that, but I'm going to challenge you and ask you that if you do have an issue, consider sitting with something and thinking about it and feeling it and being in it and seeing what comes up for you. You might uncover something that's a little bit deeper than what you might have previously thought. And that's the episode for today. I want to thank you so much for listening to the Happy Doc podcast. Again, this is a podcast that is going to inspire you as a physician, as a health professional, as an individual to be fulfilled in your life. So please look out for the other episodes in the Happy Doc. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a 5-star review on the podcasting application of your choice. You can also reach out to us by emailing thehappydoc1@gmail.com. I'll see you on the next episode.